Welcome to Aibowan Sri Lanka. I am Bandula Jayasekara. We are with Professor Rajiva Vijayasinghe today, who is the Secretary to the Ministry of Disaster Management and Human Rights. Welcome to Aibowan Sri Lanka, Rajiva.
Thank you, Bandula.
Rajiva, now the biggest news today is the UN asking the government to respond to the allegations made by retired General Sarath Fonseka. Your comments on that?
Well, this is another letter from Philip Alston, who is the UN Special Rapporteur. He's a rather special man who tends to fly off the handle. So over Channel 4 he did the same thing. He sent a sudden letter and we weren't sure whether he was asking us to investigate an incident, and we said let us know when the incident happened and where, otherwise you can't investigate, or was he asking us to investigate the video? Then he dodged my questions. You know, he tends not to answer when you ask him for clarification. This time too, he has sent something based on an interview by General Sarath Fonseka given to the Sunday Leader a week ago. And that interview was quite extraordinary. In fact, anyone reading it would have realized that someone had got something wrong, either General or Mrs. Jans. I checked with her. She had done the interview. Although in the middle of the paper she had given a byline to Mr. Wijewardena, who's one of the younger reporters there, I suppose to encourage him. But in effect that contradicted a report on Lanka Newsweb, which is a website I think that used to be run by Mr. Mangala Samarina and his friends, and that in July said that the General said, I am responsible, people in air-conditioned rooms sent messages, but they shouldn't be running a war. I am a soldier, I should be running a war. And essentially we knew what the people with white flags had done before, and therefore I took command and we destroyed the LTT. So the implication was, you know, I was the man who took the tough decisions. But of course, in all fairness to General Fonseka, that report may have been a lie. You know, it's quite possible that he never said anything of the sort. So now when he reported as saying something entirely different, you begin to wonder, is he being taken for a ride by various people in the media? Is he being used? In July, as you know, that statement subsequently appeared in the American report. And we are pledged to look into that report because the Americans have very sensibly said, we are not saying any of this is true, but since these reports have come out, could you have a look? And the government has said, of course we will. And one of those is General Fonseka is supposed to have said this. So whether he said it or not, we don't know. Now, Philip Alston talks about this, but in fact the day after Philip Alston sent his letter, General Fonseka issued something in the Leader saying, I never said such a thing.
But the damage is done. He has done the damage.
Well, I think he started doing the damage in July. If that statement in Ambalangoda was correct, I don't think anyone reading the Leader interview would take seriously, except people who are determined to attack us in the first place. You know, one of the whole problems about what he said is these allegations appeared in May. Then they died down.
Yeah, but we know it internationally. You have fought many battles internationally. What has happened, and now this is good for the LTT supporters and their sympathizers, and they are using it worldwide because there was the government, the country stood by, and then they stood up, and then here is a presidential candidate who goes and says he puts the nation in trouble. Don't you think so?
Well, the way I look at it is, of course, that happened. But is that a problem? The LTT websites have been making several allegations for the last few months. You know, we are told, why don't you investigate them? Our point is, if you give us any details, we will. But we can't keep looking at things, but that is scratching a wound. We have an obligation to look at any genuine allegation and things that's plausible. And government is pledged to do that. But so far we have got nothing. You know, if after 9 months, the worst things we have are the Channel 4 video and General Sarath Fonseka's statement, I think that is proof that our army fought one of the cleanest wars against terrorism. And I think all indications are that is the case. That doesn't mean that aberrations may not have occurred, but we need evidence for that. Now in this case, I think the very interesting factor is what it tells you about General Fonseka, and I will say poor General Fonseka. Because I think what appeared in the Leader 2 days ago, he obviously had to say, because the JVP would probably have abandoned him if he had continued to attack the army in this way. So he's a man caught between two stools. The one stool is Frederica Jans, who is probably the most powerful intellect in what I would call the UNP part of the campaign, and then the JVP, which of course is totally opposed to this. And I think it was very interesting that as a result of this, and General Fonseca obviously feeling he'd blundered, he seems to be more involved with the JVP now.
Is he a puppet on a string?
Well, I wouldn't say that. General Fonseca is not a puppet, but given his lack of experience in politics, he's bound to be influenced by whoever he's with. So today he's with Frederica Jans, and he might say something that probably wasn't what she said he said, but was near enough to it. And on the other hand, he's with the JVP. I think 2 Sunday papers, not government papers, were very worried that he's now been taken over by the JVP, and I think you'll see that see. So I mean, poor man, he's not used to this. He was probably a good soldier. And this whole political thing will probably damage everybody, the country, the UNP, and ultimately the poor man himself.
I have many questions to ask you about this as well as other things, but taking from this, Rajiv, I want to ask, you're Ranil Wickremesinghe's cousin, aren't you?
Yes.
And why do you hate him so much?
I do not hate him at all. In fact, I think in 2001, I actually voted for that party because I thought they were on the right track. In 1999, when I stood for president, I'm afraid I voted for myself.
I need to come to that.
I voted for myself, but I gave him a second preference, but I had to think quite a lot. You know, because I was slightly aware that, you know, Mrs. Kumaratunga had no racist streak in her. Ranil had been involved in 1983 with JR, but I always took the stance that Ranil would have made an excellent politician if he had been under someone like Dudley Sennayak or Premadasa. But JR was a pernicious man, and if you look at the latest UTHR report, and that's again an organization I have a lot of respect for, although they get some things wrong, they are totally, let us say, idealistic and very anti-terror. And they go on and on, as sometimes people say I do, about what J.R. Jayawardena did to this country and how he destroyed minority trust. Now, Ranil, unfortunately, was brought up by J.R. and he still hankers after J.R. That is why I think, although he had a great chance in 2001, he was waiting to be the executive president, he didn't want to rock the boat, and so he allowed the LTT to run circles around him. You can see the same thing now. He's allowing the JVP to run circles around him. He is not, contrary to what people think, a strong politician. He's a strong, let's say, intriguer. You know, he has kept his leadership of the UNP against all odds, and you know, that is obviously an achievement given, you know, so much loss. But if you look at that constitution, it's brilliant. He imposed a constitution in 1995 that actually kept him leader for life.
Is it also I, me and myself situation there?
Well, I think there's probably a little bit of that, but I put that down to the fact that, you know, he always felt he should have been J.R. Jayawardena's successor. You know, there's a lot of, let's say, family baggage there because J.R. was his uncle. And as a result, I think what I would call the, you know, let's say his father Esmond Wickremesinghe, his uncle Lakshman Wickremesinghe, were entirely pluralist in their approach. His mother is a wonderful person, but the Jayawardena streak was, I think, very pernicious, and that has been, unfortunately, taking him over more and more.
You're talking of Jayawardena's, and then we saw, even though it didn't get much media play, that we saw Pradeep Jayawardena, grandson of JR, pledging support for President Mahinda Rajapaksa. How do you see that?
Well, I think people who see the UNP as, let us say, an institution that should continue, and I am one of those. You know, I think you need a good opposition. I think they feel that the track Ranil is going on now will destroy the party. In fact, for me, the saddest thing about General Fonseca's candidacy is that it will revive the JVP. You know, had there been a general election 3 months ago, the JVP would have got at most 1 seat. Now they know how to get onto his coattails. The poor man is not going to be able to shed them. And ultimately, at the general election that will follow, they will do better. But whether it will be at the expense of the UNP or the government, it's probably both.
But it looks like the UNP, because like we are discussing the Sunday papers, the 2 independent political columns, which says in the Kandy, which is a UNP stronghold, they had like 10% of the UNP and 90% of the JVP. So that's what these both columnists have said, then that he's either he's been aligned or or JVP is pulling him towards